Trump calls for Ukraine to hold elections to potentially replace Zelenskyy as he takes swipe at President Bolsonaro's rating. New York Post. Rob, go on and play this clip.
No, not Bolsonaro. You're talking
I'm
about
sorry,
Zelenskyy.
no, President Zelenskyy. Yes.
Yeah. Thank you. Yes.
We're hearing that Russia wants to force Ukraine to hold new elections in order to sign any kind of a peace deal. Is that something that the U.S. would ever support?
Well, we have a situation where we haven't had elections in Ukraine, where we have martial law, essentially martial law in Ukraine, where the leader in Ukraine, I mean, I hate to say it, but he's down at 4% approval rating, and where a country has been blown to smithereens. You got most of the cities are laying on their sides. The buildings are collapsed. It looks like a massive demolition site. The whole, I mean, so many of the cities. I mean, they haven't done it in Kiev because I guess they don't want to shoot too many rockets in there. They've done it 20%, but they haven't done it 100%. If they wanted to do it 100%, it would probably happen very quickly. But you have cities that are absolutely decimated. And yeah, I would say that, you know, when they want a seat at the table, you could say the people have to, wouldn't the people of Ukraine have to say, like, you know, it's been a long time since we've had an election. That's not a Russia thing. That's something coming from me and coming from many other countries also. You know, Ukraine is being just wiped out. Look at what's happening to the cities. There are cities, there's not even a building standing. It's a massive, you talk about Gaza. I mean, it's literally, these cities look like Gaza.
Okay, so Vinny, thoughts?
Well, first of all, the honeymoon is over. Okay, and I'm so freaking happy.
Easy.
Don't you love those sayings?
I like that.
I got it from you. It's about damn time somebody said it. I mean, he's been running. It's been a money laundering scheme this entire time. Remember when it first started, Tom? The pins and everybody was pro-Ukraine. And who was it that sat here that said F Ukraine? And they knew it from the beginning what the hell was going on. Pat, was it? I don't think it was Candace. It was the girl from England, I think. Remember?
No, it was Candace.
It was Candace. And then another one that was getting into it with Adam, the girl from England.
Katie Hopkins.
Katie Hopkins. That was like, we're going to spend almost $1 trillion. And you were like, we're at $350 billion. Okay, let's go back to Trump's first impeachment. It was about Biden's corruption in Ukraine. Do you remember that, Tom? When Hunter Biden was sitting on Burisma, and and remember the big guy made the billions, and they kept the money flowing to Zelenskyy and all that stuff.
And at that same time, Zelenskyy was allowed to speak at the pulpit of honor in our Capitol building.
Thank you.
And then turns behind himself and unfolds a Ukrainian flag that Nancy Pelosi helped him hold up.
Yep. So I remember that. And dude, and I just said it, Adam. $350 billion, no receipts, no accountability. $120 billion. I didn't even get the money. You want to talk about Doge 2.0 from overseas? Enough is enough, and I'm so happy. Mind you, that attitude from Trump, Brian, it's over. And Russia's been, on the 19th, Putin, I sent the clip to him. Putin's like, yo, we're ready to talk and we want to piece it up. But dude, the money is in war. All these rhinos, all these Lindsey Grahams that are like, that's the most important thing that's happening. Bullshit. They want to freaking stop it. We need to stop it. And I'm just tired of it, bro. I'm tired of giving these guys $350. We're worrying about Social Security, a couple of people losing it. $350 billion, you know what that is?
Well, yeah,
that's a lot of money.
But actually, the hidden thing that people don't talk about is when you give this aid to Ukraine, American companies are actually making those goods and services. Yeah. So a lot of this supports the American economy. So I'm not even talking about that. Did you ever think, let me ask you a question. We talk about sending aid. So we send material, we send supplies. Did you ever think about what happens when that aid gets to the airport and is unloaded? Do you know? Do you guys know where that
our
goes?
Stuff there? Our stuff
think
in
about
Ukraine.
it. So we send a bunch of stuff. Radios, guns, ammunition, whatever it is. MREs, where does it go? What happens? Do you know? Because I'm going to tell you. So nobody asks this question. We send it. When it lands at the airport, there are trucks waiting to get that stuff, to take it to the front lines. That's not where it goes. Those trucks, all those supplies are already divvied out by who? By the people that run different quadrants of Ukraine, gangsters. And guess where that goes? It goes into their warehouses. So all that aid goes into warehouses first, and they've already met in a church and talked about who gets what, and that goes into a warehouse, and then the front lines get to buy it. And guess what groups get the aid first? The ones that prove their loyalty to Zelenskyy more than the next guy. Do you understand? You know who told me that? CIA guys told me that. That's what happens. Nobody ever asks, where does that aid go? When it goes there, there's a whole system. It's not going to the front lines. And oh, by the way, if you did a percentage on what actually gets to the front lines, the people that really need it, it would make you cry. It's probably 10%. The rest of it sits in warehouses to be sold to everybody else.
And Tom, I want to come to you on this story. And the reason, and Rob, I want you to prepare the clip of President Trump talking about, hey, we got to get some of the share of all these revenues from the minerals that you guys got. If you can prepare that clip. But I want to come to Tom. Tom, so story comes out, and you share this with us. Most Americans say U.S. foreign aid is wasted on corruption, okay? This is Daily Caller. Now Americans are going there, right? And Trump demanding that up like a rocket, CNN's Harry Enton says a large chunk of Americans think U.S. has been far too generous to Ukraine. This wasn't the case 2.5 years ago. That's the case today. Rob, play this clip first of the, which one is this, Rob? This
so I have
Ukraine?
both Harry Enton and I also have Trump.
Play the Harry Enton and then go to Trump, and I'll go to Tom.
Holy Toledo, look at this trend line here. U.S. support for Ukraine is too much. Back when the war began, back in February of 2022, it was just 7%. Up like a rocket ship, my goodness. Up now in February of 2025 to 41%. And the clear majority of Republicans, and of course Republicans are in charge of the U.S. government now, 62% of Republicans say that the U.S. support for Ukraine is too much. What a difference from just 3 years ago. I can remember, John,
because the
all those
Democrats
backyards
ran
in the
it
United
for
States
3
with
years.
those
What are you talking
Ukrainian
about?
flags. Far fewer of them today, as Americans' opinions on Ukraine have changed dramatically.
Oh, no, he's saying like including Democrats.
Right.
They're
You know,
saying, dude, we're
obviously,
done with
if
this
you
thing.
expect
Everybody's
changes
against it now.
Right.
And then, Rob, if you can play, what's this with Zelensky's? No, it's fine. Go to the one with Trump. Go for it.
We don't get our money back. And we told them that the deal is we'll do something for the rare earth and some oil, et cetera, and that'll be all right. And they agreed to it, more or less. And then Scott Bessent actually went there and was treated rather rudely because essentially they told him no, and Zelenskyy was sleeping and unavailable to meet him. He traveled many hours on the train, which is a dangerous trip. And we're talking about the Secretary of the Treasury. He went there to get a document
That's
signed.
pure disrespect.
And when he got
100%.
there,
And by the
he came
way,
back empty.
we
They wouldn't
knew he
sign the
was there, and I'll
document.
tell you
But for
why.
Europe,
But can we at least say, though, guys, that let's not forget that Russia did invade and did it with their military. Let's not be apologists to Putin either.
No, but here's the question:
Right?
Why did he do it? Why did he do it on the Biden? And why did Joe Biden, when they asked him the question, he said this, Brian, and there's a clip. He goes, "Well, they could do a minor incursion." He welcomed them to go.
Who said that?
But Joe Biden did. You can find the clip, Rob. He basically invited, but Brian, at the end of the day, this was they pushed Putin to do this. I'm not an apologist for him, but the guy's
see your
been
passport,
saying,
bro.
The guy's been saying for a while, like, bro, he doesn't want. They're pushing him to do this shit. And if you think about
Vinny,
it,
I get it. You're a Putin puppet.
Did Ukraine?
You're a Putin
Did
puppet.
Ukraine
I get
have?
it.
He's got. I can hear the accent.
Unbelievable.
Brian, I'm
Niet,
sorry.
I told you.
Vinny.
I can smell
Niet,
vodka
what-
on his breath.
Clearly.
Be honest. Did they ever have a chance of winning this war? Zero. Absolutely zero. And how many soldiers, how many Ukrainian families are never going to see their freaking family, their fathers,
So
or
the
their
argument-
But it's not like Ukraine started the
No,
war. What do you mean?
No,
they
I
had a chance?
didn't say they started.
The fact
argument-
that Russia hasn't already won the war is the most incredible thing ever.
Look, the argument would be, what they did in Chechnya, what they did to Georgia, what they've always done. The Russian bear is not somebody to apologize for. Look at Afghanistan, etc.
But I'm not apologizing, but look at us too. We bomb and kill a lot of people
we
too.
We probably could have really made them pay a price if we had armed the Ukrainians right away in the beginning of this war. That would be the argument. I don't know. I don't
Tom,
follow
your
it
thoughts
enough.
on this?
So the question that you asked me, Pat, was about Americans and how they feel. Most Americans, there's a survey comes out done by the Financial Times, and I looked it up, And it's a fair survey. 60% of the people in the survey said that foreign aid is wasted. Wasted. My tax dollars are wasted. The only way, now let's assume 10% of the Republicans that would be in the survey, which would be 46%, let's take 4 points off. So only saying 90% of Republicans because 4% are just war-loving rhinos. Okay, 44. That means to get to 60%, you got to have 18 points coming from Democrats, which means a unified America is coming together thanks to Doge shining the flashlight on the bottom of the rock, and we can see all the bugs and the mud and the goo, and we're saying, oh my gosh, this is so wasteful. This is so terrible. And then you go look at Harry Enten. Harry Enten, it's like it's like aneurysm week at CNN. Every time he goes to that board and starts pointing to things, whoever's the victim, have you ever noticed, Brian, they always have some anchor come up, stand next to him and just nod for a minute. And all of a sudden you can see them shifting their weight and they're wrinkling their forehead. And they say, look, she's going to have that's a 50% aneurysm. Here it comes. Yep. And then they go. And Harry pointed out, they went from 2%, 7%, all the way up to here. Guess what? You shine a flashlight on it. Americans see it. Americans realize it. And this is the benefit of Doge. And this is then, hang on, Donald Trump saying, okay, we all agree it's wasteful. And now more people than ever think it's been way too generous to Ukraine. You know what? I want to get something for this. And you know what? Because I know it's corrupt. You know what I want? I want rare earth. Same thing I want from Greenland, because I'm going to help the United States not get checkmated by China on rare earth minerals. And he's making deals to get rare earth minerals in Greenland, get rare earth minerals from Ukraine. And we're going to see at the end of this how the story ends, that Trump was 3 steps ahead, because this is the stuff we need to be competitive on EVs and other things. And he's going to make sure that we're not stuck with China checkmating the world in the mining in Greenland and getting nothing for something in Ukraine. Now we're going to go back and say, no. You're going to dig that crap up and we're going to take it. And that's the way we're going to do this. And you're going to help pay us back.
But a war, oh, by the way, and I don't, okay, who started it, who, whatever, dumping $350 million and having all of our congressmen wearing pins and celebrating and kissing his ass, bro. And nobody, by the way, this whole, and I know what people say that the Putin apologist bullshit. Okay, he starts wars and he does stuff. What about us? What about Iraq? Right. What about Afghanistan? What about Syria? We are one of the biggest ones that do it. Bill, they're trying to push Ukraine to get into NATO. He doesn't want missiles and shit lining up around his country. He's fighting for his country.
I think what Trump also is good at, though, is when he comes to the negotiating table, he'll hit you with an outrageous claim, and then we'll scale it back from there.
Yeah,
right?
That's totally fine.
Don't. By the way, don't take him at face value every time. When he comes out of the gate, sometimes he comes out hard and strong and outrageous, knowing that you're going to counter, and this is how we negotiate. Yeah. And at the end of the day, Biden couldn't get a piece on the books. I'm telling you, this guy, at the end of the day, is probably going to achieve this peace. And that's better than having this war rage on. And so this is what he does. He's colorful.
Final thoughts.
Hunter sure got a piece.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, with Burisma, right?
Do I agree with most Americans that probably a lot of this foreign aid is corrupt and wasteful and abusive? Sure, great. But let's not throw out the baby with the bathwater you talk about. Let's not take our eye off the prize. Just first topic we talked about today. There's a big difference between millions, billions, and trillions.
Yeah.
What percentage of our federal budget do we spend on foreign aid? Do you know? 1%.
Correct.
1% too much.
1%.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, that's a retarded comment. Because
no, it's not
we still
retarded.
Need to have soft power around the world.
We do.
However,
we need development.
Yeah, we can't just we're ostrich.
Well,
that's what we do. We're freaking
Mr.
America.
Russia.
Yeah, I'm a Mr.
What's wrong with apologist over here?
Russia.
But the point is, okay, we can have a conversation of what we want to do with this 1%. Sure, is it wasteful? Is it abusive? Let's look at the 99%. So I gave this analogy before. We're deeply in debt. We're hemorrhaging money as a family, let's say. And your rent is $7,000 a month. And you really should be spending $3,000 a month. And you and me are arguing whether we should cancel the Netflix subscription or have Amazon Prime.
Right.
It's
for $17.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
For it's freaking irrelevant.
Listen.
Focus on the $7,000 versus the $3,000 rent. And then we'll figure out what we want to do.
Can we chew?
Whether it's
Netflix, we could hold on. We could do it all because Adam, we're finding out hundreds of billions. Hold on. Hundreds of billions of dollars. He doesn't know where the hell they are. And there's veterans in our street. No. 1% to me isn't just, who gives a
Vinny,
shit?
If you
I
were,
want it
if
all
you were,
accounted
if
for.
you were broke, answer this question
Yeah.
legit. Broke.
Yes, okay.
And you were spending $7,000 a month in rent.
Okay.
When you should be spending $3,000, and also you have Netflix and Amazon Prime, and I'm like, Vinny, you're broke. What do you do first?
Obviously, the seventh.
Vinny, $36 trillion debt.
Yeah.
A trillion seconds is 32,000 years. Let me say it again.
Okay.
A trillion seconds. So our debt right now, I think, is $36 trillion. What is that? So it's 1,000 billion for a trillion.
It's
so
just a whole lot of zeros.
36,700 billion.
Yes.
Okay, so there you go.
Yeah.
So
the point is, you focus on the big
That's how
ass
much money-
number
Yeah, which they
that's
are.
weighing you down,
Yeah.
not the $7 a month.
I think we could do both because guess what? The people in North Carolina with the hurricane, trust me, they're worrying about that 1% that could be going into their pocket because $350 billion is almost $500 billion. If we didn't stop, if Trump and them haven't tried to stop these assholes, they'd go for $1 trillion. He'd be $1 trillion.
Let me use this
I love
another
the
way.
vein. I love the vein in his eye. That's when you know he's
Fucking America first.
let me say this another way. Let's say you had a heart attack.
I get your analogies. I get
no,
it.
I don't think
get
you
it.
do, Vinny.
No,
'cause
Adam,
you're-
I'm America
and as
first.
you're-
I don't
and
want money to
just
anybody.
hear me out.
Okay, you're not gonna.
And as you're falling down, you get a paper cut on your finger. And you're like, can we fix both? I'm like, let's start with the heart attack,
Adam,
Vinny.
they're doing
you're
it
like,
all.
we could do the
Doge
paper
is
cut.
doing it all. So let them do it all. But the 1%, to hell with that. I want it for America. Does that? I don't
You
care
just
about everybody.
Venmoed. You just Venmoed Russia money. I just saw
Focus
you
on
do
the
it.
heart attack, Vinny, not the paper cut, buddy.
These analogies aren't gonna. I'm
Okay.
America first.
All right,
Period.
guys. The PBD Podcast gang, the folks that watch this podcast loyally, no matter where we go, they're there. It doesn't matter what part of the world we're in. You guys are phenomenal. Add this to your calendar. Go to vtwebinar.com and register for this. March 4th, we're making a massive announcement about Connect, the circle economy. Massive announcement that I want to tell you exactly what it's going to work out and how all the PBD podcast community folks can, work with each other. You'll see this. You have to hear what we're doing here with the circles economy. It's going to be big. And at the same time, on that webinar, I'll also be announcing on how you could come join us this year at the Kentucky Derby. Finish line, 5th floor, the biggest suite in the entire place with 150,000 people watching the greatest 2 minutes in sports. Go to vtwebinar.com, register March 4, 3 p.m. On that Zoom, we're launching circles. You're going to lose your mind when you hear what we're going to be doing with Connect here on that launch. If you enjoyed this video, you want to watch more videos like this, click here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click here.